Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryan Karavavagai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vittishavai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Asato ma Satgamaya Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Matangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tatsat. Okay. So today we will discuss an important topic. This talk, it is called the concept pain causing factors, afflictions, pain causing factors. In other words, for our context, we can call it as the reasons for disharmony, the reasons for inner disharmony, which eventually leads to outer disharmony. It's called Kesha. So Yoga Sutra, Patanjali Yoga Sutra deals with it in an extensive manner. There are other scriptures also which use the word Klesha, but basically Klesha is dealt with in an extensive manner in Yoga Sutra, in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, right? So now, inner harmony, harmony meditate but Anna, Thiruvalluvar enna sollirukaru, noi naadi, noi mudal naadi, adu thanikkum vai naadi. Yeah, adhe dhaan inge Kleshala enna panna porom appadina. There is a disharmony. So if you really want to solve any specific disharmony to begin with, and eventually you solve the source of all disharmonies. So that, because our sages were very greedy. So they did not want to settle down for anything ordinary. So I am feeling a little stressed out, so I will remove my stress and then I am okay. And then that's about it. So time to time, whenever stress comes, the jugaad pani to manage your stress, time to time just feel good. How they do. This is not Indian attitude at all, actually speaking. The Bharatiya attitude was to solve a problem to, from the grassroots level, from root and branch, complete problem solving done. That is what we are used to. Nowadays we see, right, the roads are not okay. Here and there they do some patchwork. So this is not what they, this is not our approach. Our original approach is complete problem solving. So the Klesha are categorized into 5. So no matter what is our disharmony, whatever is the kind of disharmony we are experiencing, that can come under one of these categories. So that can be mapped with this universal disharmony map and the cause of disharmony and the method of removing the cause of disharmony, thereby removing the effect which is your experienced disharmony. Understanding the cause of disharmony and finding a way to remove the cause of the disharmony, that is resolving the effect back into the cause. That's what it is called. It's like the wave going back to the ocean. So whatever is the disharmony, it is resolved back into its cause. That means it is not there anymore. The cause of the disharmony is removed. So it is, I will explain this concept. It's a very nice philosophical concept. So the cause of the disharmony is removed. The disharmony is not there. And the root cause of all disharmonies is identified and removed, so that there is no disharmony that arises in the mind for good, which is called as Kaivalya or Moksha, right? So there are 2 levels in which he talks about removing the disharmony or handling the disharmony. So level 1 is you learn to handle your disharmony, which is going to be most relevant for us. And then the level 2 is complete root and branch, complete removal of the root cause of disharmony, so that there is no disharmony at all in the consciousness, which is called Kaivalya or Moksha, which is actually the dharma of a sannyasi, right? Okay. Now, this disharmony is created in the mind in a pattern. Every situation has a hold on us. This is what we experience, right? So whenever we are helpless in a situation, it is because we are involved in a situation in a helpless way. So that situation has a hold on us. ஒரு விஷயத்துல நம்ம ரொம்ப அட்டாச்சா இருக்கோம் இல்லையா, அதனால அந்த விஷயம் நம்மள அஃபெக்ட் பண்றது. அதனாலதான் எதுல இருந்தெல்லாம் நம்ம டிட்டாச் ஆகிறோமோ அதனால நாம அவஸ்தைப்படுறது இல்ல அப்படின்னு வள்ளுவர் சொல்லிருக்காரு. யாதனின் நீங்கியான் நோதல் அதனின் இளன். ரைட்? So it's the same thing. So what that force inside us which makes us grab on situations, to make us grab or be very attached to things and people and situations, both outer and inner. So there can be an external situation that you are very attached to, like your house, property, and your relations and all that. And we have an inner situation, a certain state of experience, especially when when you start meditating, one fine morning you will have a very nice experience, right? The technique would have clicked and you would have felt very good. So that leaves an impression. So a good, a nice experience leaves an impression, just like how a bad experience leaves an impression. Both pleasant and unpleasant experience, when you are very involved in the experience, when there is no viveka in the mind, when there is no discrimination in the mind, the experience leaves an impression. That impression is nothing but a kind of a self-definition that arises based on our relationship with the experience. The impression left by an experience is nothing but a kind of a self-definition, a self-concept that is created, an unconscious self-image with reference to that experience or that object is created. So in a meditation, you have an experience, so you have a certain feeling about yourself generated out of that experience, and then the meditation, that nice experience leaves an impression. The next time you sit for meditate, then the vasana is there. So you remember, oh, meditation na nanarvam, then you feel very good about meditating, so you come and sit. Then you start meditating. Then what happens? This nice experience that you had the previous day comes in your memory, and based on memory, I am trying to arrive at the experience. Most of us do this. We have either from memory or we have a vague idea based on how I describe. You have a vague idea or a picture, and you are making an effort to arrive there. So that is what creates tension in meditation. Similarly, that is what creates tension in life. So that is why in one of the greatest teachings in yoga, in karma yoga, it says karmanyevadhikaraste ma paleshu kadachana. That is, it's simply an understanding. It is telling you to remember that you are having control only over your attitude and the process. You don't have control over the result, because there are so many factors that are influencing the result. So let us have our focus on the process and what I can do, and my role and what I am supposed to do, and the way in which I do, and the attitude with which I do. Let my focus be there, and may I cultivate an attitude of indifference to the result. No matter what is the result, it does not matter, because the result is not my motivation. Let my motivation for action not be the result. That's what he says. So this is the fundamental of karma yoga. When you are not result driven, I'm telling you completely in the opposite of this performance psychology and this positive thinking that we are all used to from the Western theories, right? So the yogic approach for success and inner harmony is, first thing, I am not driven by the result. I am driven by dharma. Means I am driven by role clarity. I am driven by role clarity and my dedication to the role, because I have a value for that role in my growth trajectory. I am not defined by the role. That's the big difference, because I just now said one of the causes of disharmony is the impression left by situations and people, which gives me a residual self-impression. So if I am going to define myself based on my role, then I am in trouble. I will come to the basic theory after this. So I cannot define myself based on the role. However, there is a value for that role. I have a value for that role that I have to play in the big picture of my growth trajectory. So this is how I understand the right place of the role. I understand the value for that role, and then I am just playing that role with either, with the only purpose of, to use it in our context, the only purpose of becoming more and more harmonious inside. If I don't understand this, with the purpose of that role playing a part in the big picture of my growth trajectory. Whatever is the definition of my growth, whatever is what I call as growth trajectory, my purushartha, my basic fundamental values based on which I am directing my life. So that big picture of my life, this role, this whatever I have to do, what role I have to play in a context has a place. So I have a value for that. And then based on that, I am dedicating my resources, my mind and my consciousness and my involvement in that role. And I am doing it to the best of my ability with indifference to the result. Role clarity, what I have to do, doing the right thing, then doing it very well, doing it in the right way, with the right attitude, that is doing it in the right way, happily meaning with an attitude of equanimity towards the result. So this is my common definition of yoga: do the right thing in the right way, happily. I used to tell in the yoga class, right? So you remember this formula I used to tell in when we learned yoga, I used to tell this: do the right thing in the right way, happily. This is a formula you can remember: do the right thing in the right way, happily. So this is the fundamental essence of karma yoga, right? Do the right thing, which is basically karmasu kaushalam, that yoga karmasu kaushalam, that is skillfulness in choosing the right course of action. Then we have samatvam yoga uchyate, right? Samatvam yoga uchyate is that equanimity towards the different pleasant and unpleasant experiences that come in the course of playing our role, doing that action. Also a kind of indifference toward the result and not making the result my motivation. And when the result comes, disowning the result or attributing the result, not taking a personal credit for the result in our mind. We may take the personal credit as part of professional growth, that is different, but not taking the personal credit. I achieved this. Instead of that, we say it is because of God's grace I got this. Prasada Buddhi, they call it. So because of the, or you don't want God, you say universe, because of the, because of the good luck and universal good luck kind of thing. It's my good time and good luck, so I got it. Whatever you want to say, you do that. And but a nice way would be to say that, to remember your Ishta Devata and then say, because of Ganesha's grace, or because of Ambal's grace, because of Shiva's grace, because of my whatever is your Ishta Devam, Kula Devam, remember that name. So because of his grace, I got this. Because of her grace, I got this. And then you mentally say, you think of the deity and then tell the name of the deity and say, this achievement belongs to you. And thank you for this. This is your prasada. This to mentally to actually sit for a minute and tell that. So that cultivates a kind of an attitude towards the result. And over a period of time, what happens? Our neural pathway changes. Our reward system, the neural pathway connected to that reward system changes, and the reward, the action becomes its own reward. My involvement, my right way of doing it becomes its own reward. It becomes, instead of becoming a result-driven process, it becomes a dharma-driven process. Why I am using the word dharma, I am not using just process, because process is only one part of dharma. Dharma is a huge word, and most of us as Indians, we understand what is dharma. So it becomes from a result-oriented process, it becomes a dharma-oriented process. So when all our major roles in life are transformed into dharma-oriented process, one of the main reasons for inner disharmony, which is result driving our mind crazy, our attachment to the result is taken care. Now, this attachment to the result, attachment to people, attachment to situations, which is experienced as a kind of a grip that situation or that object or that people, that experience that has over us. That situation, object, people, or also objects, and that experience has over us, that grip it has over us, either because of biological reasons, like in smoking, for example. The major reason is biological. A nice a relationship, it has a grip on us. The reason is psychological. And then there are self-definition that you identify yourself with the role. If you have been in a very successful career path for like 30-40 years, and then you retire and you cannot be that anymore, suddenly there is a vacuum. So that creates a lot of, that makes you push us to do a lot of things and unnecessary things. You get involved in, usually very successful people, after they retire, they get involved in some trust and all that, and they end up with more disharmony because of all the politics there. So this happens, especially judges. They are always in a big seat. So once they retire, they want that big seat somewhere. So they keep going and becoming trustees in different things. This happens in many successful professions because of the inability to handle the vacuum. When you retire and then you work on yourself. It's called vanaprastha. You kind of disconnect from all the things and start working on yourself, and eventually go for higher things that are more lasting. Or in other words, you work towards moksha, right? So that has been the approach in the yogic culture. But however, so this grip that roles have on us, right? So all this, the different kind of grips we have at the ego level. So we have body level, mind level, ego level. Body, mind, ego is also intellect. So and also we have these concepts. There are pet concepts that we have. There are ideologies, they have a hold on our intellect. Opinions, they have a hold on our intellect, right wing, left wing, all that. So that has a very, very strong hold on the intellect. And then our identity comes from that. So this experience of this grip that different situations, people and experiences have on us, that grip is called abhinivesha. The technical word is called abhinivesha. The cumulative effect of all such grips on our psyche, the cumulative effect of that is what is the cause of birth. And this cumulative effect of abhinivesha, this cumulative effect of all attachments, expresses as attachment to the body or the huge desire to be alive. Will to be well, he's questioning the very reason for life, and he's telling me, don't think like that. So what I'm trying to tell is we need to understand, because this is where we lose our grip on situations, where we lose ourselves into a pattern of disharmony. This is because of abhinivesha. A pattern of disharmony continues to assert itself despite us not wanting it. A pattern of disharmony continues to assert itself despite our not wanting it, is because of this force called abhinivesha. So every time we experience a huge force behind a situation, what we have to do? We have to do some kind of, basically what handles this abhinivesha best is pranayama, especially when pranayama is combined with japa. When we combine pranayama and the mantra together, the force of abhinivesha comes down. And every day, during our everyday life, in different situations, when we play our different roles, to practice the inner discipline of karma yoga, where we train our attitude and change the neural pathway from a result-driven neural pathway to a dharma-driven neural pathway. When this goes on for a period of time, that force called abhinivesha starts reducing in the level. It's the kind of grip it has over our psyche kind of loosens up. Loosens up. The grip loosens up, and it becomes easier to handle. It becomes like wild horse becomes a tame horse. It is still horse, but it is a tame horse. So or it becomes it's still a little bit wild, but you can handle it. With a little bit of air, when you make a sound, then it kind of slows down, right? So similarly, this abhinivesha, this is what we experience at the outermost layer of disharmony. Behind this abhinivesha, the next inner layer of disharmony is either a dvesha, a dislike, or a like. Liking is more fundamental to disliking. So that is why when they ask you, so that is why we are more, we are more happy and we are more with ourselves when we are doing something that we like or when we are experiencing something that we like. And so this is more fundamental, connected to our nature. Dislike, what is called as dvesha, that creates, that creates this fighting, that creates more conflict. So usually a disharmony is caused by dvesha, but under the next layer behind the dvesha or dislike or hatred, behind that is a like. Because I like something, it's called raga, because I like something. And what I like, I am not able to be associated with, or I am blocked from experiencing what I like. Right? So there is a gap or something that blocks my being with what I like, either in experience or in ownership. Okay. So now that block blocks makes me hate it. I don't want that block. I don't want to be blocked from what I like. So I have dislike to what blocks me from what I like. From me, something that blocks me from getting what I like, it's called, it's an impediment, and my dislike towards it, obviously, is called dvesha. So we have abhinivesha. These are very important words. You can, if you remember these words, you can Google and read about that more. In Yoga Sutra, you just put 5 Keshas, Kleshas, okay, in English. So you make a note and say 5 Kleshas, and in Yoga Sutra, if you put, you will see a lot of articles. You can have a look at it. So abhinivesha. Behind abhinivesha, the next layer is dvesha, dislike and hatred. So behind the dvesha is raga, or liking or desiring, and your passions. In other words, clinging, anger, passion. So behind that is your identity or your ego, asmita. Now, the asmita, for the purpose of meditation and contemplation, and for the purpose of solving this problem, this pain-causing affliction, this limitation, this disharmony, one of the causes of disharmony, the secondary cause of disharmony is losing myself in an identity, right? So losing myself in an identity is connected with an experience or an object of attachment. Okay, it's called asmita. This is a very subtle concept. I will come to that. This asmita is defined like this. If you remember a few classes before, we discussed awareness and consciousness. When we are talking about familiarizing with the field of consciousness, we talked about that. We talked about each part of the body. So where that comes from this concept. Okay. So when we are doing that, we see we are aware of something. The mind is aware of something, but I feel like I am aware. So there is a cognitive faculty. This cognitive faculty is aware of something, not aware of something, right? If I ask you what is in front of you, you say, you should look at the object, you say laptop or whatever, and you say that. If I ask you what is behind you, you say, I don't know, because you can't see, right? From your memory, you think there is something else and you speculate, but actually you don't see. I see, I don't see. I know, I don't know. Now, I am the knower, I am the not knower. No, I am the ignorant. I am the knower, I am the ignorant, right? And I am indifferent, I am not bothering about that. Now, to know or not know is the function of our cognitive faculty, buddhi. I know, I don't know. I am present in I know. I am aware that I know. I am aware that I don't know. There is a quality of difference between these two aspects of our consciousness. See, I know, I don't know. I am aware that I know. I am aware that I don't know. This I am aware is common to both I know and I don't know. There is a wonderful text called Drishya Viveka by Adi Shankaracharya. So the Drishya Viveka text deals with this aspect of discriminating awareness from the content of consciousness, separating yourself from the content of the psyche. I am not part of the psyche. I am, in my reality, I am outside the body, mind, and intellect complex. I am the consciousness that is not conditioned by the body, mind, and intellect complex. I am something else. I am a different entity. I am not the waking person. I am not the dreaming person. I am not the sleeping person. I am the source of I am is something else, qualitatively something else. So that is called Purja, Atma, consciousness, or whatever. So it's there, right? So to discriminate, to separate this is called Viveka, Drishya Viveka. So now coming back to Asmita. This Asmita is nothing but the as though union. The as though union, it's not difficult at all because it is a completely new area of expertise. You may feel that it is very difficult. You just think about it, just listen again. It's very, very easy, extremely easy. There is nothing easier than jnana because that is about you. And then you are always aware of that. You just have to wake up to that. Okay. So, the as though union between consciousness and pure awareness, the unconditioned consciousness and unconditioned consciousness, the as though union between your cognitive faculty and you. I will put it like you are consciousness. The cognitive faculty is the intellect that that makes it possible to become aware of things. And the union is the most important part. The union between you and the cognitive faculty makes you feel that you are the doer, you are the knower, you are the experiencer. The feeling that you get that I know this, I don't know this, that feeling, right? That is Asmita, or the union between the pure you, the unconditioned you, and the you in association with the cognitive faculty. It's like telling, suppose if you are a father, you are going to pick up your kid from the school or college or from a party or something. They say, who are you? Then you say, I am so and so's father, or I am so and so's mother. At that moment, that role is relevant. You are completely identified with the role. But the same guy, the next day, the same person sees you in some official meeting. Then you say, who are you? So I am the general manager here. He said, but you are that kid's father. Yeah, I am this kid's father also. I am the general manager also. So here the role is different. The roles keep changing, but you exist beyond all the roles. Right? You can assume any role and leave any role. So you and your role kind of get merged. That's a union between you and your role. In order for a certain function to happen, something to happen, that role has to get activated. So when I identify with the role, that role gets activated in my system. And then all the activities that are associated with that role, I can play. So that can be done. Things can get accomplished. So it's okay. It's a very functional thing. But me defining myself through that role is ignorance. Right? So I know, I think, I feel I am the knower. I know this. I don't know this. I am doing this. I am not doing this. It's not a problem. But if I don't know myself outside of this, then I am in trouble. So that is called Atmita. This Atmita becomes a cause of disharmony when it is backed by ignorance or avidya. So first, abhinivesha, behind that is dvesha, The cause of that is raga, abhinivesha, clinging to situations, clinging to life, the craving to stay alive, which manifests as the craving to stay alive. Craving to stay alive is the effect. When somebody holds your nose and doesn't let you breathe. You know that famous story? One guy went to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, just lightening up. One guy went to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and he said, Master, I want moksha right now. Is it possible? He said, yes, very much possible. Right now you can be liberated, you can be enlightened. But how? He said, I'll come to Ganga, I will show you. And so he said, okay, Master is going to initiate me into some very mystic practice. He goes to Ganga. And what Ramakrishna does, he catches his kurimi and pushes him inside the water. And then doesn't let him come out. Puts him inside the water. The fellow is struggling. Let him struggle for some time, drink some water, and then, Calcutta, Ganga is horrible. I have been there. So makes him drink that water a little bit and pulls him out. And after that, he catches the breath. And then, Master, deep hunting over here. What did you do this? He said, how much, when you are inside the water, struggling for breath, how much did you want to come out? What did you think about? No, what did I think about? I didn't think. Did you? So, what were you thinking about? What were your thoughts about moksha? Something he asked. What moksha? Are you kidding? I'm just trying to take a breath. I'm not thinking about anything. The only thing I want is breath, nothing else. Just to take a breath. So he said, if you want moksha, like how you want that breath, you will get enlightened right now. That's what Ramakrishna Paramahamsa told him. Right? So this is the power of abhinivesha. So that is what, when this whole abhinivesha turns into love of God, or when this whole the force of abhinivesha, at that level of manifestation, complete organically, if your system turns into, that love of the self or love of God, both the same, then the mind can go into samadhi instantaneously. Chuma, somebody is going around in the corner, they say Rama, that's it. There was one great master in a place called Vasishta Guha. It's 25 kilometers above Rishikesh. So when Swami Purushottamananda Puri, he was there. He was living in the cave for 52 years. He's known to be a great yogi. There are three people who are called as Vibhuti of Himalaya, the great masters of Himalaya. One was Swami Shivananda, another was the Swami Purushottamananda, another was the Sri Tapovan, who is the Guru of Chinmayananda. Right? So these three people were called Vibhutis, the great masters of Himalayas in our century. So this Swami Purushottamananda, somebody went and asked him, please teach us the power of Ramanam. The discourse, this Swami Jayanti, all the celebration, or Ramanami, some celebration, they went and asked, please teach us please talk to us about the greatness of Ramanam. Oh, right. The word Rama, and then he went into a samadhi. 1 hour gone. No breath, no heartbeat, nothing. Then he came back. Then had some water, everything. Oh, right. So the word Rama, he went into samadhi again. He did that some 2-3 times, and then after that he said, see, now that you have seen the power of Ramanama yourself, there is nothing to talk about it, and then he went back inside the cave. So this is how great masters teach, and Mokka masters like me teach like this, blah, 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 all the time. Right? So, okay. Now, this whole abhinivesha can be turned around. Then the ability to withdraw ourselves from life and to experience the greatness of the self becomes instantaneous. So that's what it is about. So this grip, instead of the world having a grip on us, God has a grip on you. Then the whole current turns upwards. So asmita. Behind asmita is avidya or ignorance, not knowing yourself. See, if we say, who are you? Somebody asks us, a jnani and an agyani. The one who is under the grip of ignorance, and the one who is enlightened or who has the self-realization. The difference is somebody asks somebody who is self-realized, who are you? The guy will go into thinking like, first another question. Like you don't, because the real I cannot be defined in words. Okay. So, but usually if you don't know anything, if you don't know yourself, if I don't know myself outside the realm of my roles, outside the realm of myself as the knower and the doer, if I don't know myself outside my realm as experience, and the happy one, the sad one, and all that, if I don't know anything about myself outside this matrix, then I am in ignorance, this non-knowing, right? So this not knowing is ignorance. This is called darkness, avidya, ignorance. So because of this, I am lost in my roles. Avidya is the cause, is the root cause for all the afflictions that come after it, says Yoga Sutra. Avidya moolam kshetram uttaresham, one sutra is there. So avidya becomes the moolam, the root cause for all the disharmony that develops after. So because there is avidya, asmita develops. And you are stuck with asmita. Asmita is not functional anymore. My roles are not functional anymore. My roles are absolute. I am defined by my roles. My experiencing of myself, the only way I experience myself is through my experiences, through my roles, through my relationships, and through what I know and what I don't know. What I don't know is more in a context, I feel bad. But because my true nature, the Upanishads and everything says my true nature is knowledge, my true nature is consciousness, I can't handle ignorance. If somebody says, hey, we feel he's insulting me. But sorry, you feel great. But you never feel great. I'm not troubled by all that. You don't feel great about it. You feel terrible. Oh, I don't want to be ignorant. Nobody wants to be ignorant. Everybody wants to be knowledgeable. Right? So why? Because your fundamental nature is knowledge. So we cannot handle ignorance. Everybody wants to be happy because your fundamental nature is happy. That's why we cannot handle disharmony. Harmony is your nature. In harmony, your true nature of Ananda is reflected. So that is why we are having inner harmony as a value. But we don't know ourselves, we don't know our true nature, and because of that, we are dependent on the experiences mediated by the mind and the body. The experiences of life mediated by the mind and the body, we are completely dependent on that. We know nothing about this, out of this. So that is avidya. So if you handle avidya, if avidya is taken care, all the disharmony in the minds are taken care. There will be no asmita, in the sense different roles of our life will not have a hold on us. Different likes and dislikes may be there because of habituation. You may still want a nice coffee, but that will not have a hold on us. That will not be a cause for disharmony. Not having what I want is not going to be a cause of a abiding disharmony. And something preventing me from getting what I don't want, I am not going to hate it. I may not, it may be unpleasant, there may be a dislike for it, but that dislike will not have a hold on me. And abhinivesha, clinging to situations, will not be there. Suppose if it is a time to die, I'm talking about the level of harmony, inner harmony, we can arrive at, the level of inner harmony we can arrive at in, by the practice of yoga, this dhyana and all that, Raja Yoga, is this. At the time of death, you're going to die, you're going to just sit and go through the death process. Now, Ramana Maharishi went like, it's not a big deal, everybody can do, actually. All it requires is dedication to the process of meditation, dedication to understanding the causes of disharmony and removing these causes of disharmony and freeing ourselves from the matrix of the mind. So when we do that, it becomes very easy. I'm just giving you I'm creating a value for this. What it really means that if I have already worked with the Keshas, what it means is that at the time of death, I will be able to go through the death process, just like how I go through disembarking from a train and coming out of the station. It's the same thing, just the subtle body leaves the physical body, and then one by one, everything dissolves into its cause, and then the individual experience of the mind. It will be just like how I used to experience samadhi in my meditation. It will be the same. There is absolutely no difference between death and samadhi. That is why they say, Sittarai pol trivar sitta, because they are always in samadhi. It is as good as they are dead. They are walking dead. It is not a derogatory remark. It is a great compliment, because the matrix of life does not hold them. They are already free from that. So that's what it means, right? So this is the ultimate approach to inner harmony. But we are going to derive techniques. Let's like I told you, how pranayama with japa is going to help you handle abhinivesha. Similarly, there are different approaches for inner harmony, where we are using these approaches to handle the disharmony patterns inside us and resolve them back into their cause. This is the theory we are going to use. This is the framework we are going to use. Because until we solve the problem of avidya, There is going to be identification with roles. The roles are going to have a grip on us. The likes and dislikes are going to have a grip on us. That is going to be clinging of life. This is our working reality. This is what we have in our home, right? So how do we work with this mundane reality that we are in? Like what Heidegger says, thrownness. So we are thrown into this matrix of limitations and struggle. So within this matrix of struggle, how are we going to kind of loosen up the patterns of struggle so that we experience more inner harmony in day-to-day situations? So what we are going to do. This approach is called as Kriya Yoga. Samadhir Bhavanartha Klesha Kanukaranarthascha. That is, in order to arrive at steadiness of mind and to abate, to bring down the grip that these causes of disharmony have on the mind. The causes of disharmony, to loosen up their grip in the mind. Klesha Kanukaranarthascha means to make them a little weak so that you can work with them. They become workable. They don't become, causes of stress and disease, and they don't take over your life. They're all there, the causes are there, but you're able to handle them very effectively. So that is called Kriya Yoga, the level 1. The next level is what I talked about before. It's called Klesha Karma Nivritti. It comes from Vivekajam Jnanam. That is the discriminative knowledge because of which you are able to remove avidya, the darkness which prevents you from experiencing your true nature. You are able to clear that completely, and you are able to abide in your true nature. That will remove the entire pattern of karma and all the kleshas completely, root and branch. Until then, for that, we need to prepare ourselves at the level where we know how to keep this disharmony pattern from taking a toll on us, and we learn how to handle them effectively. And based on this theoretical framework, we are going to develop the techniques in the coming sessions. So stay the course. If you want to understand this framework again, please listen again and listen carefully, and you may understand. And now you may ask your questions regarding what we discussed today now, right here. Is clear? I will explain again. Just a small recap. Abhinivesha, clinging. Behind clinging is your likes and dislikes, preferences, and things that you don't like, love and hate, raga, dvesha. Behind that is asmita. You are completely losing ourselves in as a doer, the experiencer, and the knower and the not knower, and the roles that I play, taking the self-definition that comes only from this. And behind this is not knowing who I am outside of all this. So this is the pattern of disharmony called the Kesha theory in yoga. And you can also Google it. It will be there. It's all over the internet. So I don't need to tell you more information. Now questions. We have another 2-3 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, நானும் பேசல.
Sorry, can you repeat?
நான் ஒண்ணுமே சொல்லல. Am I audible?
Yes, very much.
So this concept is very heavy in content. Okay.
Oh, okay.
This is my perception. I may be wrong. I don't know about others.
That's all.
Very heavy in content, but we are. I think it would be easier if we know how to. No, you mentioned about pranayama to overcome this, whatever is the state of this kleshas, right?
Pranayama to overcome the outermost one, which is basically the abhinivesha, that when it becomes the helplessness at the level of expression is too much, to slow down the rush. Yeah.
Okay. So it's the, and you said pranayama with mantra, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So is it something which we should learn today, or is it?
No, we are going to start with that from the next class. We already learned a little bit. We learned some of the techniques. I will connect based on this disharmony framework. I will connect you to the techniques that we learned, and also I will tell you techniques. Okay. So the approach is resolving the effect in the cause. When the effect goes in the cause, there is no cause effect till the cause is removed. There is no, when resolving the What comes later, you resolve it into the former, and then you resolve that into its cause. So like that, the disharmony is removed at the root. So basically, one tip would be, I will handle this. Suppose if I am angry in a situation, I do some, calming technique or whatever I am familiar with. I have practiced. I do that and bring down the force of the anger. Then I do some introspection and see what is the desire, what is my desire or my liking that is frustrated, because of which I am angry. There can be displacement also. I am angry somewhere else. I was caused to be angry somewhere else. My desire for something else is blocked in a situation X. And that frustration builds up and it becomes a force and makes me angry in situation Y. This is something that we do. So this happens because the force has taken over. So that's where reducing the force comes, and then comes processing the anger. So when we process the anger, the method of processing the anger is to find out what is making me angry and why is it making me angry. Because what is the desire behind the anger? The frustrated desire behind every anger has a frustrated desire behind it. Every hatred has a frustrated like or love behind it. No matter, you just random, you pick up any hatred or any anger, any dvesha has to have a raga behind it. It has to have a desire or a liking behind it, which is frustrated. Then I work with that. Then I resolve this into the liking. Then I'm working with that liking, and then I'm working with the desire, my compulsion, how much that desire and that liking, that preference has a hold on me, and I work with that. Why that thing has a hold on me, then I work with my role or my identity that is associated with that experience, which is asmita. Like that, it becomes less. The moment you come from dvesha or hatred or dislike or anger to the like, there itself you will start experiencing a huge level of harm. So we will get some methods of working with those things.
Okay. So,
different tools. Yeah.
Right. So one extension of what I already asked, is it not enough if we focus only on the techniques instead of trying to understand?
Not at all. Not at all. It is going to take just a little bit more effort, maybe one more session listening, and then you don't listen to the whole thing. Because this is one session, I have to do the blah blah for all this time. But don't listen to when I'm explaining concept, don't listen to the whole thing. Listen 5 minutes, switch it off, take a walk, think about it, do something else, let it brew in the mind, make a note, come back, listen to that again, check your notes, leave it, take a walk, come back, then listen to the next segment, next 10 minutes. So split theory class into 4 or 5 segments, how much you can hold your concentration. Something makes an impact in the whole session. Now I'm sure like 2-3 minutes in the middle would have something you could have related to, correct? So but when I clump the whole thing together, it's like all going above the head, simply because it is not a concept, this is not an approach you are used to. For example, if you tell me about accounting, I will go completely off track within 2 minutes. But if you make me sit in a Vedanta class with Brahma Sutras or something, I can go on for 3 days, 4 days, not a problem. Because I'm used to that domain. It's a new domain. We are not used to this domain. All our life, we are used only to handling things. And we are only used to doing techniques and exercises. But we have to do it. If you really want to have an abiding experience of disharmony, means if you really want to have an abiding experience of harmony, we really need to understand the pattern behind disharmony. Maybe not to the level of an expert, maybe not to the level of Shankaracharya. We need to understand to a basic level with which we can work. It's like, you are not a cardiologist, I'm not a cardiologist. But we all know, of course, good cholesterol, bad cholesterol. This food causes good cholesterol. But we at least know that bad cholesterol causes artery block. That much we know. But when we talk like this to a guy who has absolutely no clue about all this, it's like, wow, this guy knows so much about medicine. For him, we will look like a cardiologist. But in front of a cardiologist, he will say, Enna, Google medicine. All this won't work. Come to me and come for proper consultation, he will say. Right? So, but that's a different level of expertise. So, what expertise I am trying to bring here, just framework which is just good enough for working with the practices. Because if you don't have, we need to have a basic idea of the framework when we work with the techniques. Otherwise, what will happen? The technique will become another obsession. So that's what happens in the yoga world. Everybody is obsessed with technique. Everybody is experience hunting. You're always going to some exotic ashram, some exotic cave, some this or that. You're always hunting experience. You're going behind gurus. You're going to, hit your butt and make your kundalini up. All this nonsense in yoga is because there is no basic understanding of the framework and the knowledge framework in which the practices are based. Some kind of a working knowledge I'm trying to arrive at. It's very easy. Break the session into 3-4 sessions. 3-4 parts. Listen to one part, work with that, try to get that concept. Take a note, compare. Next part. Work with that, come back, next part. Then listen to the whole thing with the whole thing notes. Then suddenly you will feel it's very familiar. Take a break. Don't listen to the whole thing completely. It's going to go above the head. Take a break, work it in parts, make some notes, compare your note, rethink about it. Then during the course of the day, when you take a walk, etc., just think about it. If I have to take a class today, you think about it. I think about it, I spend some time, I refer to the text and see the concept. Okay. Then I think and I build a structure in my mind. And then based on that, I'm able to talk. Similarly, if I want to practice today, I want to do some meditation. I see what type of meditation I'm going to do. So if I have an issue in my technique, immediately my mind goes for the theory backup. And then I immediately know how to handle a certain blockage in my practice of the technique. Because I see how much it is helping me, so I want to see if you can have a piece of that. So it is important. There is no choice. We have to know. It's like health awareness. You don't have to become a doctor, but you need to know some basic stuff. Similarly, we have to know some basic stuff about the mind and the structure and how the disharmony thrives, So we need to know that so that harmony thrives. Yeah. We need to learn to reverse the pattern.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Leave it to others.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the sole guy, asking questions.
The rest are all soul guys. They're all like into their soul right now.
Sir, நாங்க கேட்க வேண்டியதெல்லாம் சுந்தர் சார் கேட்டுறாரு சார்.
அப்படியே சரி.
ஆமா.
ஐயோ தியரி படிக்கணுமா அப்படின்னு அவ்வளவு படிக்கணும், கொஞ்சம் படிக்கணும், வேற வழி கிடையாது.
We listen again this recording and connect you the edit out for next class.
Yes, and next class I will give more time. If you listen to this, you will definitely have questions. Next class I can dedicate more time for questions, and I will teach you only one technique. The Kesha management class, I will teach you one technique for the next few classes. Each class one technique, and the rest will be going for questions. So you have a lot of time to listen to this blah blah, and then get it in your system. Because this is the root skeleton behind disharmony. If you get this, you have your mind, you have your life. Nothing can, you become the master of your inner harmony. Nothing can challenge your inner harmony because you have the whole situation in your grip. No, that's the whole idea. Knowledge plus technique, நீங்க தான் king. யாரும் உங்களை அசைக்க முடியாது. எந்த situation பிரம்மலோகம் வரைக்கும் ஒண்ணும் பண்ண முடியாது. இந்திரன் தபஸை கெடுக்கிறதுக்கு எல்லாம் அனுபவம் சொல்லுவாங்க. அது மாதிரி even at that level nothing will happen because you know how to handle it. Raga, Dvesha, Abhinivesha, Asmita, and I am going to try to facilitate a technique which will help you to reach at that work with that level of Asmita level. Asmita level work பண்றதுக்கு functional தான், அவித்யா எல்லாம் போகாது, மெதுவா தான் போகும். But Asmita level work பண்றதுக்கு I am going to try to see if I can empower you with some techniques. Then no situation can have a hold on it. Yeah.
The recording is available with your YouTube channel, right? So, எல்லாரும் தெரியுமா அது?
Yes, in my YouTube channel, Yogeshwar YouTube channel, it's available. I can send the channel's link to Prabhakaran. Please share it with others.
Okay.
Yeah. And please watch. All the Let's Meditate sessions are 15 sessions. Right? Listen only to this because this is what we are going to work with the next test.
Sure.
So I'll finish the class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vadishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Thank you.